And hello everybody, how are you all doing tonight? So tonight we have an absolute beast of a match lined up for you guys. Axios playing off against Hostile Actions. These two teams are the two best teams of the competition so far. This is, by the way, a Summer Cup cast, as you can see by the overlay above me. Right in the middle there's no Titans League logo, but there's Summer Cup 6, which definitely does not look like the Rainbow Six Siege logo. That has been somewhat altered to not infringe on copyright. But other than that, we do have 3 matches for you guys tonight, so this is going to be a long stream. This match, like I said, is... Oh, by the way, the overlay has not updated. It is not Red Angels playing, but Hostile Actions. Thank you very much, Matt Ban. Okay. Axios Hostile Actions, a huge match as far as the Summer Cup is concerned. And then after that, we have 2 Titans League matches. The one is going to see Hostile Actions play off against, or go off against Mishash Gaming. So this is likely going to be really interesting. And other than that, we're also going to have another match tonight. So another match that is set to start around 10 p.m., which can take a little bit of time, you know. But like I said, we have a big stream for you guys tonight. Let me just pull up my calendar so I can remind myself which team it was. Did Astronauts against Unique Esports, I want to say, because I did the overlays, or the assets for the Twitter messages, the Twitter announcements. Yeah, did Astronauts against Unique Esports. Though I am becoming a bit worried because, I mean, it is already 8:15 roughly, and we have yet to actually start the game, meaning that basically, oh yeah, my stream already has a delay built into it. I don't have to actually be 3 minutes behind, so I'll be maybe a tiny little bit late here, but we are having the bans made by the players. So the first one, I was dumb on that front. Should have not had a delay in the game, in the overlay. Nonetheless, so our map was Coastline. We haven't seen the actual, introduction and everything. Hebana Capital will be taken off the board, and I want to say this map is kind of interesting, as we can see also that here are the players' rankings. But what I was going to say is the map plays somewhat uniquely, especially as far as the attack is concerned. I mean, hard breaching is rarely going to be a major factor, right? How often do you think to yourself, oh well, if Thermite was able to open up that wall, we would have won, or the defense would have lost, the other way around. This rarely, if ever, happens on here. I mean, the only time I can really think of it as being a major factor, it would be if we're talking about the bedroom wall on the penthouse bomb site. But penthouse tends to be a less liked site as far as this map is concerned. So therefore, the bans here will be Hibana, of course, because she can breach the pool table wall from afar, and Capital because his utility, basically. But I mean, Thatcher, Maverick, those would be fairly, I want to say, normal or expected bans. They are still going to be on the table, and they still are going to be played today. But as you can see, they're not actually being picked because we don't even need them. Like I said, this map plays really differently from what we had, from what we can expect coming from other maps. So our first defense here will be played in Kitchen. That is quite unique, by the way, since of course it would usually be considered a secondary bomb site, but this time around, I don't know if it's due to the attackers wanting to, the defense rather, wanting to play a bit of a distant formation, but Hostile Action, unironically picking the basement floor, or the first floor site. Sorry, yeah, we were, I don't want to say last minute, but we are a bit stressed for time today. We had other things to take care of right before the stream started, and we went really up until before the stream started. Again, that window, please move aside. God, thank you. Thank fuck. Okay, so first round, the attackers are spawning in. Vezi saying Hostile Actions avec un sub, and Ratel saying ça, quel accent. Ratel, are you the French player, the European player, Ratel? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Hey, Ratel, it's like 2 a.m. in France. What are you doing here? Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I'm just very surprised to see you still up at this time of day. By the way, Ratel, we're also launching the European Proper League next month in 15th in 22 days, 23 days at this point. If you're interested, hit me up on Discord, and we'll hook you up with the French or with the European tournament Discord we've created, the registration process and all that good stuff. But back onto the game. So Ashes playing Ash will have been, the entry fragger, and he got destroyed. And therefore, it looks like for the initial contact, at the very least, Axios seem to have a bit of a difficulty to actually get their kills. So far, it is not a major loss or a major defeat for the attackers. I mean, you lost a player, you lost a great gun. R4C is not to be underestimated, but ultimately you didn't lose too much as far as utility is concerned. Limbo here getting a nice nitro style kill. Apparently Tom is looking for another one. Veros and G-Money apparently are rotating back with him. Well, G-Money more than Veros, so your Buck is still going to be staying at the top floor. Apparently he wants to play verticality, but that can be quite dangerous because if he's not cautious enough, well, a roamer could get an easy kill on him. If he's looking at the floor, he's never going to see somebody come right next to him, right? Ultimately, that doesn't matter. He gets a nice kill on JD, and that should maybe even help Tom or G-Money to insert through the Sunrise bar. However, for the time being, that potential entryway into the OBJ doesn't seem to be on Axios' to-do list. Let's see how they actually want to push in. Xag knows there's a Buck upstairs. He has to take him out. And this is where I was saying, if Veros isn't cautious about his surroundings because he's looking a floor below, that could be quite dangerous for him. But it looks like your Wamai here isn't actually playing the entire roamer role. Or he's not actually playing the roamer role. He is actually holding an angle just from afar. And you can hear Veros Buck opening up or breaching a soft wall. No angle, no line of sight with Xag will be possible. So he's still there, still a potential threat. But let's put emphasis on potential. For the time being, he's not going to be too dangerous. The toxic blades are being tossed in, but it's actually going to be Xag who seems to be the bigger threat. Ultimately, nothing connects somehow. Somehow the attackers are still unscathed with 22 seconds remaining on the clock. Right here, you have the tiniest of angles, and he does get Tom down, who will choke on the smoke immediately. Now, Veros also being put down. G-Money, last player alive in a 1v3 situation. He will have to make his bullets count. He gets one, but gets refragged immediately. Hostile actions winning round number 1. That is going to be a huge defense for them. A nice round 1 with a fair advantage, right? It was not exactly won by a landslide, but you cannot say that they won, by chance or by dumb luck. So let's see how the rest of the round plays out, or the rest of the game rather plays out. But as far as the beginning or as far as the opening moves are concerned, I am really happy with what I'm seeing. It is really nice to see. And other than that, let me just do the one thing here, because I noticed. Wait, this is the center? What? What? To the side then. Okay, right. T'as de la misère. Yeah, I will get it together. I will get it together. How are you doing, Layako? How are you doing? I am quite happy to see you here, because I enjoy your company. So, round number 1 won by the defense. And for context, okay, for example, Ratel, I don't know if you're still here, but Ratel being an European player, I would doubt you actually know this, or Layako, I know you don't pay too much attention to this kind of stuff. Axios, they're actually a Challenger League team. So you would expect them to be like the better team or to be a huge team. And it definitely is true, right? But ultimately, you should not underestimate hostile actions. If I was to put it this way, why are hostile actions not in Challenger League? They're minors. They're not 18 plus, and that's why they cannot actually, they're not eligible to play in said Challenger League. So give them a bit of time, and I certainly do believe they have, at the very least, enough skill to make it decently or reasonably far into the actual qualifiers. But that is going to be a huge run out. Ashes, once again, your entry fragger, oftentimes your top fragger in that team, a crazy aggressive player, is already going to be put down. Once again, that is going to be a big loss for the attack, even though we're not talking a loss, utility and capabilities wise. It's still just an Ash, it's still just a great gun. But all the intel, utility, and grace in the world isn't worth a damn if you have somebody that gets 4 or 5 kills. And that single-handedly wins you the round by deathmatch, if not by playing the objective. Apparently they're looking for a camera that's outside or something along those lines. It gets spotted, it gets destroyed, and that is where IQ strength lies. Still, that's a 4v4 situation because just as Ashes was shut down by JD, Limbo, I don't know if he was running out because he wanted to put a camera or if he just got shot because he was peeking the way he somehow where he shouldn't have peeked. But ultimately, it's going to be a 4v4 situation, and now the rest of the round can be played somewhat normally, right? You are going to have the Axios team who has inserted through the office, and now it looks like Veros, yeah, he's going to be playing verticality. Try as he may, though. I would still set a drone up there because he, even though knows the map, even though he knows where an opponent is likely to be hiding behind him, and for example, right here, that would have been a really nice spot to lay prone and to use your camera or to hide behind while you're using the cameras. Without any intel, he cannot know that he's right next to Devils and that he should shoot maybe a bit more to the north or whatever to actually get the kills. He's doing this haphazardly by trial and error, and it might work from time to time, but ultimately, you're still just rolling the dice. And all that is going to be costing you some amount of time, right? Devil's looking at the floor, JD just right here at the dead angle. Nobody is pushing though. I mean, oh gosh, we heard G-Money using the pistol, so that jammer is likely to reveal his position as far as IQ is concerned. By the way, where is G-Money? I believe he was in the kitchen, going by the sound of it. Couldn't tell you where he is. He does not appear in Veros' field of vision, but by the sound, Veros definitely hears somebody above him. That was Devils. Still looking for that faithful kill. That does not happen. Tom here. That is not the hologram. He's actually there, so he could be an absolute threat. The drone will be sent in. Yeah, here in Devils. Devils has to be cautious because he might be receiving a lot of pressure, but he's now stepping on the openings on the floor. Luckily for him, it looks like Veros is no longer there, but he's coming back. He sees him and he will get the kill. JD getting a frag at the exact same time. Big Sexy with a double kill on his part. JD and Zag, however, even though they're locking down the OBJ and all that good stuff, thing is they're locking down the other one, and Big Sexy is the bird of the diffuser. G-Money rushing in doesn't work too well for him, and that is gonna be a double kill. Zag getting a frag on G-Money, but Veros refragging immediately. Thing is, it was a 1v3, then Doc got the first kill, then became a 1v2. So even though you had the one that was planting the diffuser, the one that was a really, really vulnerable attacker, Buck was covering adequately, and this is why and how the attackers won round number 2. Okay. Layako saying, "Je vais bien, merci." Well, that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. Well, I mean, generally speaking, we don't like it when people don't go too well or when people aren't feeling too well. So good news all around is what we're hoping for. Okay, so here, Zug, I know you're not exactly caster, and I know you're not exactly here to cast, but I have a question as far as the Summer Cup is concerned, and so you can answer like one single sentence. Is that the last week of the Summer Cup, and is that basically the last game of the regular season?
Yep, it is. Not the last game, but for these two teams, yes, the last one.
Okay, and so thank you very much for that. As you guys know, of course, these two teams are already qualified for the playoffs. So ultimately, this match is not really going to matter too much, right? I mean, granted, the rankings in the regular season are going to have an impact on your seeding as far as the playoffs are concerned. But neither team is going to lose their spot in the playoffs by losing this match. Plus, here's another question. How tight or how close are the points between these two teams, Zug? Because say Axios were to lose, would Hostile Action jump into first place by this loss, or is this game really played for basically nothing?
Yeah, if Hostile Action win this game, they're gonna get the first place, about 1 point. And the big point is Hostile Action has 1 loss till now, and Axios no loss. So if Axios win this game, they will done a perfect 11 win streak.
Winning 11 games in this season, that is huge.
No loss.
No loss whatsoever for the main season. Once again, I mean, they are a Challenger League team, so it absolutely does make sense that they do have those good performances. But even then, 11 victories in a row, that is nothing to laugh at. I mean, even just in ranked, you rarely, if ever, see this, right? So in a competitive environment, it is so much more surprising or so much more to be admired. So Pickle Pats had been spotted by the drone. I don't know what exactly happened. Didn't quite get killed. Oh, right here, he gets pushed. Ashes, who finally was able to make it out of spawn alive. You can see why Hostile Actions were so keen to actually spawn kill him every single round. He is such a beast of a fragger. And I truly believe he could bring this round back. Not exactly on his lonesome, because Tom is still there with him, and it's still going to be a team effort. But Ashes, as a fragger, is going to shine in such a situation. Planting the diffuser would not really be wise, nor is it going to be what Axios actually tried to do in that situation. They will have to get their kills and to gain some sort of advantage before they even start contemplating a plant of the diffuser. Tom looking, or holding his teammates back. Right here, oh, he is tossing in the hologram. Feeding intel, Ashes is likely to work off of that. But both players, they are fairly certain that nobody's behind them apparently, because he's not holding their backside. Was there a drone in there? Couldn't tell you. They seem to have heard somebody in the first floor, either that or another drone. Ultimately, not too many kills are happening, but they are exhausting utility on both sides, might I add. So Smoke here is down to his last toxic bait. And oh no, Ashes will be put down. Of course, he will withstand. He tries to get himself back up, but of course, the Toxic Smoke is going to put him down. That was a first kill, but not a double frag. And there you have it. Zag winning yet another round for Hostile Actions. By the way, you still had a player, a defender at the first floor, so even if Axios were to pull the clutch off, they would still have had to plant the diffuser, or to somehow flush the last defender out. I don't recall exactly who it was, and from that point, while your attacker is planting, while Tom is planting, it would have been fairly easy, assuming you don't make any major mistakes, for, I believe it was Limbo to get the frag there. So there you have it. The round at that point was looking really good for Hostile Actions. It would have been surprising if the clutch actually happened, and they did not disappoint. In other words, they didn't commit a major mistake. So let's get back into the actual in-game overlay. And the observer had popped up the scoreboard while the replays were still showing, so we didn't actually get to see it. You wanna hit tab again? So yeah, here you have it. Big Sexy is gonna be your top fragger with four kills, and then it drops down quite dramatically. If you were to compare this to Hostile Actions, 3-3-3. 4 players have 3 kills. Pickles unfortunately trailing behind a little bit. So what I do want to illustrate by that is simply you kill off Big Sexy, and frags wise, well, you do still have Veros with 3 kills, but those 2 players, if you can take them off the board, your chances of winning as the Hostile Action team, they just skyrocket. Whereas Axios, they don't have the one clear leader to outgun, and then the round is easily won. It's not that easy for your attackers. So, after having won the defense up top, they are going to go kitchen yet again. This time, however, of course, Axios, they already played against this kind of defense. Remember round number 1, which was fairly easily won by Hostile Action. Axios, let's hope for their sake, that they're going to be able to identify what didn't work out at the very first round, and they're going to be able to work off of that to adapt their strategy and eventually pull off a victory. Because the defense, all in all, seems to be fairly similar, right? You still do have a few roamers here and there. The one right here, for example, is going to be Limbo. But you also do, I believe, though I couldn't confirm it due to Limbo's POV right now, that there's a roam at the soft line. Yeah, we saw briefly a silhouette in the orange stairs at the very least. In the Cool Vibe stairs. An orange silhouette in the Cool Vibe stairs. That's going to be Pickle getting a first kill on Veros. So hard breaching, not hard breaching, but vertical gunplay capabilities severely limited. If you want to play verticality, you're going to have to go off of Ash's breaching round, or infiltration round rather. Which is, yeah, not exactly going to be too easy, right? So far, the defense is looking really good. G-Money looking to get the frag, looking to get the vengeance for his teammate. There's a drone there in Cool Vibe stairs, so of course, he is going to have incel fed to him, but it seems like the drone doesn't see too much. Because if not, G-Money would be taking decisive actions. Just as this happens, Pickle is peeking, pre-firing, all that good stuff. Not exactly getting the lucky shot off he was looking for. But ultimately, G-Money seems like he might even, disengage here. He looked like he wanted to drop off through the little balcony there and drop right in the middle of the interior garden. That could be a nice way of flanking the defenders. but it yet remains to happen. And all of that, you know, the situation as a whole is somewhat stagnant right now. The timer though is not waiting for anybody, and it is slowly but surely going down. So what do you have? You have Tom and Nomad, who apparently are looking to find another way in. You know, generally speaking, they will have to rotate and to find a weakness, because whatever they were trying before doesn't work out. The hologram, of course, gets destroyed immediately. That was a valuable distraction. Unfortunately, Big Sexy was not able to capitalize on that, and therefore he's going to be receiving some amount of damage. But being outflanked, Zag will follow G-Money with a nice, nifty little trick here. That's exactly what he was looking for, and he is not alone. Ashes is helping him out. Ashes and Tom both get a nice little frag. You still do have Limbo over there, but he's cut off, and on OBJ itself, you only have the one player, so he gets a first kill. JD also gets a frag, now down to a 2v2, actually 2v1. G-Money's down, Big Sexy, last player alive. He's a support operator, but he's on OBJ. The defenders are not. He might even try to plant. Oh gosh, will you do that? I think he wanted to plant. I believe I saw, you know, at the last second, his arms were bringing the gun down, but he did not realize there was a rotation there for some reason, or did I misread the situation? That's what it looked like to me at the very least. And what do we have here? Hostile Actions actually trailing ahead. That's up to a good start. Plus, this map is fairly balanced. It is still slightly, and ever so slightly, defense-sided. But as far as, you know, Rainbow Six maps are concerned, it is quite fair. So you couldn't say, oh, Hostile Actions, they're just, you know, they're receiving, say, free round victories because the map is just so much easier to defend than it is to attack. You couldn't exactly make this kind of argument here, unlike what you could have said on Bank back when it wasn't a competitive map, for example, or Clubhouse. Clubhouse is somewhat defense-sided as well. Là, Yako, c'est triste que j'ai ça faire là pour te faire un beau carnet d'estimé. You know what? After the stream, I might even want to grab the car and get you a place. Yeah, let's talk about this later though. So that was round number 4. We are already jumping into the 5th round, and you not realize this, but the half point, you know, the half point of the rule swap are close to happening. Actually, we will be there quite quickly. So, what do we have? We have this time around. It is the first time actually that Hostile Actions, the overlays are on them are inverted. I just realized that. Why did nobody say so on stream? Wow. Okay. Hostile Action, they won 2 rounds in a row for the first time. So for the first time, they're going to be forced into the tertiary bomb site, which is, of course, blue bar. I mean, once again, we would not have expected them to go Penthouse or Home Cinema, which, let me just open a parenthesis real quick. That was the primary bomb site for a long time when the map was first introduced, which really does go to show how much the meta can change in Rainbow Six. And you do love to see it because it does keep the exact same map, the exact same corridors, angles, soft walls, and all that good stuff. It keeps them really fresh and ever evolving. I love to see it. So, with that being said, blue bar defense, how does that work? Apparently, through verticality seems to be a part, or an integral part, should I say, of Hostile Actions defense, because of course, as you can see, you have 2 or even 3 defenders at the top floor, and ironically enough, the roamers, aka Vigil, are going to be not exactly anchoring on bomb site, but they are going to be the resident, you know, OBJ defenders, whereas somebody such as Castles or Devils, the Castle or Devils, could be expected to stay on OBJ, whereas the Vigil should be roaming. You know, with looking at the gadgets and everything, the kit these players have. Veras getting a nice kill on Pickle. That's going to be a first pick. He will not get refragged, so visibly either Pickle was somewhat isolated, or the cover was just too great for, say, Devils to get a refrag. However, Limbo on his own gets a first, will get refragged himself pretty quickly. That is really the power of teamwork, right? As soon as Ashes is already dead, all you can do is refrag and not let him have died in vain. Devils, last player alive at the top floor. Diffuser is being planted. There's not much he could have done at this point. He seems to know where his opponents are. The first few shots here are going to be missing. He seems to want to go for another burst, but unfortunately for him, there's not going to be an air jab, so he cannot just rush in there. That would be just suicide. He could jump down from the barricade here. He could drop down the hatch. Play verticality, he's going to do so, but oh gosh, that was extremely predictable. He is dead before his feet even touch the ground, and it looks like we're going to have a rehost on our hands. If the players are asking for it, I assume it is gonna happen. Because of course, Ashes had already left there. So let me just get the replays in order before the rehost starts to keep things fresh for you guys.
Alright, I will need you for the
Yep. So that round was won by Hostile Actions, blue team. Yep. I have the full notes.
Alright.
Vizzy saying j'ai promis la crème à glacer à Zag si elle gagne. Oh gosh. Wow. Zag saying yes. He's going low. You know what? Why don't we just promise ice, a bit of ice cream? Yeah, let's not make that mistake, right? Like in French, you say la glace. You want to translate it word for word, and then you go, "Hey, I want some ice." But yeah, I don't want like an ice stick, ice cream. Okay, I definitely never made this mistake when I was actually going to a vendor and asking for ice, which is definitely why I'm not putting that much energy and detail into this anecdote of mine. But yeah, that's a good idea. Let's up the let's up the bets. If they win, why don't we pay ice for everybody? As long as it's like in a small ice ice cream shop in my hometown. Okay, so round number 1 was played in kitchen.
What is chicken?
By the way, put the game in English.
Right. So we said
Kitchen. Kitchen's gonna be cuisine,
kitchen?
right? It's the third one. Yep.
Yep.
Won by the orange team.
Yeah.
Second one was billiards.
The first one was blue.
Yes, then billiards again, orange.
Beard against orange.
So the first, yeah, exactly. Now we're up to round number 4, kitchen, orange team. So that's the third, orange team. You have to switch the winner.
Yep.
You have to switch the winner. It's still in blue.
No, it's orange now.
Yeah, now it's orange. And the last round, which we just saw, has been played on blue bar.
Alright.
And has been won by blue team.
Alright, so there you go. That's fine. Just option.
Nizo saying type dans le chat et jouer en même temps. Yeah, that might not be the best idea though, because if you want to maximize your chances of winning, you might want to not type in chat while you're in game. Even if it's just like during the preparation phase or during the operator pick phase, because that's when you actually want to like strat and anticipate what your opponent's going to be doing and counter strat them. So I mean, let's take this as a lesson, even if we're just talking about a ranked game. If you are playing ranked, you're dead. It would not be too surprising to just pop off Facebook on your other monitor, right, or on your cell phone. But you would rather, or your performances would go up if you were to take a look at the game, take a look at what your teammates are doing, take a look at what the enemies are doing, and analyze their play styles, rather than just thinking about what you are doing, how you are playing, what you can do yourself, right? So that was my 2 cents, my 2 cents on the little matter. Though, like Zanga said, they are in a rehost, so this time around it is more or less legitimate. Though still, you could have used that time to strat a little bit. Hey, Skyzy, how are you doing, my man? Welcome on the stream. Though we've seen you a bit more often, from time to time recently, I kind of don't really expect to see you too often anymore, because you are a Valorant player now, and I didn't think that Rainbow Six would be too interesting for you anymore. Apparently I was wrong, and I'm not, complaining about that. I'm just expressing my surprise. So yeah, that was a rehost by the blue team, by the way. So, as far as the Summer Cup is concerned, the teams are allowed a or 2 rehosts per match. 2
per match by team. So 4 rehosts in total.
4 rehosts in total. Okay, because that can become quite long if all 4 rehosts were to be actually called upon. Have you ever had to go into all 4 of those rehosts? Because that could like easily drag your match up to, say, an hour 30 or an hour 45 minutes. Yeah. Without further ado, we're back. Round number 6. Last round before the role swap. Oh gosh, you have not entered the bands. Yeah. So the bands, if you want to remind the players real quick, it's Hibana, Capitao, Echo, and Mira. Echo and Mira are the. Oh yeah, so Big Sexy remind them. He reminded them, or he did remember them, and he reminded them to us. Okay, my English is something. And Layako saying ice ice baby. Yako saying fucking je vais le caster. Pourquoi tout le monde encourage les deux équipes mais personne les casters de qualité go hands go? Hey SkyZ my man, thank you so freaking much. That is so appreciated. By the way, SkyZ, so you were making your debuts as a Rainbow Six caster, right? A few months ago, and then you switched to Valorant, which I totally understand, right? As a player, if you enjoy Valorant more than Rainbow Six Siege, you have no reason why you should stay there. But are you gonna make it? Are you gonna become a Valorant caster? Is this something you plan on doing? Here's like something. I don't know exactly what the Valorant community looks like because that's not my community. But at the beginning or at the launch of Rainbow Six, no Rainbow Six casters were established. So everybody that made it to, say pro league casting, they were new. They had, to get in somehow. And it looks to me like the stream is lagging a little bit. That is gonna be, yeah. So yeah, and if you were to be among the first to actually, be active on the scene, you could actually make it quite far, Skyzy saying Zug, t'es chaud patate, and Layako saying ha ha ha. Okay, so this is Hostile Actions' last round before the rule swap. They are defending billiards once again. And it looks like JD was well positioned to actually deny some, for example, Veros' vertical play, right? Veros is not going to be in a position to just destroy the ceiling if JD is still in the area, which they seem to know. Buck is looking, but no more. No more. There's going to be a free kill. There is still somebody outside. Is that going to be a double? He saw not Mira, Nomad. He saw Big Sexy, but Big Sexy is nonetheless going to get the kill. And here we have it. Nitro cells and Valkyrie cameras are a really good combination. We can see the bullet holes in the wall right here. Of course, Pickles has been or they tried at very least wallbang for Pickles. Nothing really connected there. He is absolutely ready. Does get the refrag on his teammate, or for his teammate. A bit late, but he still gets it. And here it looks like things are looking pretty good for Hostile Actions, right? 4v2 situation, Ashes they will be pushing from behind. The wallbangs will be quite aggressive, and it will work. Ashes though lost just underneath two-thirds of his health, so he's still rocking, say, solid 40%, which is not exactly going to put him in a one bullet to kill situation, but still his margin for error just shrunk here. Just it became smaller. That hole is just above eye level, and he is not crouched right now, so it is really to throw in a grenade without yourself being exposed, though he was crouched. Ultimately, he didn't expose himself. Looking, for the tiniest of angles. That grenade as well. Oh, there's somebody right there. There is somebody right there. Why didn't you toss in the grenade? That could have gotten a kill. Unfortunate. Nonetheless, both attackers are not or were not working together as far as I could tell. Tom's last we saw was still on the other side, and I totally expected him to push luggage. He did link up with Ashes, and now both of them seem to be rotating. There's 22 seconds remaining on the clock. Limbo is just gonna murder Ashes, as unfortunate as that is. Plus, I have hiccups, so sorry for the tempo that we have here. The unfortunate news is we have a 1v3 situation. 30 seconds remaining on the clock. The good news is, if somebody was to be in a solo situation like that, well, Iana is really good since she does have a little grenade utility and all that good stuff. Plus the that's gonna be a wallbang. Plus the Gemini replicator, so she can absolutely get a lot of intel. Unfortunately, the timer is not gonna allow for that, be it the hologram or regular drone. You just can't afford that. Though Tom was being pushed quite aggressively. I mean, imagine if the triple kill, magical bullets were to connect. That could have been a really unfortunate end for the round as far as Hostile Actions are concerned. But the unthinkable did not happen, leaving us with a 4-2 scoreline. Things are looking, I want to say, really, really good for the attackers, for the now attackers, as Hostile Actions, though they do have the advantage, they now have to win a few more rounds on offense, and that is likely to prove a bit more taxing because as we can see, the map is still slightly defense-sided. By the way, I mean, it might just be OCD on my part that the nitro cell blew up right in the middle of the carpet, which made, you know, a perfect circle in the perfect middle of the circle that the carpet was. So that was kind of aesthetically pleasing, even if it is an absolute worthless detail. I still wanted to underline that. Okay, if we were to take a look at the next round, that is not going to be your blue team Axios defending. And what can we expect from an Axios defense? Well, let's find out is what I'd like to say. So they will be defending kitchen first as well. And okay, so here, I would ask them this in a or during an interview if we had one, but it looks like we're going to be really strapped for time. So instead, I'm just going to ask Zug. A lot of players, a lot of teams will go kitchen first these days. Is it because kitchen has become the new primary bomb site on this map? Has the meta evolved? Or are they all playing this information?
I don't know. Really? I do not know.
It is interesting. For example, recently, the reading room area on Cafe has been figured out, and it's now become so much easier to defend, making it so much more viable. But I didn't know of too many, you know, meta changes on this map. Yeah, Pickles. Yeah, Pickles. It is really the player's gamer tag. If you look at, he is playing IQ this time. Pickles, Pickle Pats. Wait, is that Patriots with a new gamer tag, or is it really a new player?
Yeah, but it is.
It is, okay. So he was, fun fact, he was in the, back when he was playing on PS4, he was playing in my tournaments. This guy, even though, you know, we're not close or anything, he's just a member of the community. He and I still go far back. So JD here would be point man. He's the first to, you know, on the first front lines. There's a drone that's going to be sending intel. He just said that it was basically clean up until G-Money. G-Money destroying the drone, now robbing JD of intel. But Zag is looking for the wall bangs. Pickles is actually going to get that. Leaving us, G-Money saying mope. Oh, he must have been laying prone. For some reason, the players don't like it when they face an opponent that's laying prone on the floor. But then again, why would you not? If it works, it is a legitimate way of winning our firefights. It is a part of the game. Drop shotting might have been a bit abused or a bit too much, so that the devs disabled that, but that's all. That's all there is to it. Veras was holding the angle, Ashes as well, so through the ceiling, through verticality. If they were to get pushed too aggressively, they might not be noticing somebody who's sneaking up on them on their flank. But, you know, they still do have their sound cues. I don't think this is too likely to be happening. Dashing, Tom still is good, though. Still is God, though. Tom. Unfortunately, we just had a rehost. So, for example, right now he has 0 kills and 1 death. So we cannot really see the big picture or, you know, the complete picture of what his performances tonight look like. Though we can see the big sexy just got a frag on Pickle, bringing this officially in a 4v3 situation. Axios, therefore, have the upper hand. It is not yet over, though. So the attackers still do have top floor control. I'm referring to JD and Limbo, actually, which is quite interesting if you want to get, if you're looking to get a kill or two. Limbo getting a frag on Big Sexy. By the way, they are not ready to funnel into OBJ. Ashes has lost a big amount of health. And side entrance is now basically open. Not open as in you could, you know, plant unchallenged, but open as in the attackers are, you know, funneling in. And Zag will be attempting just that. Of course, Axios will be trying to counteract that. It will be a roam through the main lobby. Ash is getting a double kill. JD is now going to be looking really desperate. He gets a first one, looking for 2 more in only 5 seconds. There's going to be one right there. He is expecting it, but why did you stop aiming? He knew exactly somebody was going to be there, and he did not act accordingly. How unfortunate for him. Ultimately, he would still not have won the round, right? There were only 2 seconds remaining on the clock, and he didn't have time to peek in another player. But as far as that firefight is concerned, I do find it somewhat unfortunate that he lost it. It's the kind of mistake you don't make twice, right? You realize, okay, I was aiming, I was expecting somebody to be there, and then I just stopped aiming. Why did I just stop aiming? And that's when you realize that you have, you know, I don't want to say bit of training or catching up or improving to do. It's only, you know, a tactical decision. And changing your mindset can be done immediately. For example, reaction time, game sense, accuracy, flick shot capabilities, all those things you have to actually work on. But decision making, if you get into the right mindset, it can be done instantly. So let's hope for Hostile Actions' KD's sake, because once again, they wouldn't have won the round by winning this firefight. Let's just hope that they're going to be making the better decisions from now on. Ultimately, Axios, after having won their first defense, will go on blue bar as a secondary bomb site. You know, this is where I'm genuinely confused. Is this a, an attempt at throwing off Hostile Actions, or is it really their real secondary bomb site at this point? I truly do not know. Nonetheless, round 8 on blue bar it is gonna be.
5 seconds remaining.
And with the 3 seconds before the attacker spawn in, let's just respond to Sky's comment. Est-ce 40 ans pour dire non, je suis pas un joueur de Valorant, juste arrête de jouer parce que j'ai pris une pause de R6 pour essayer Valorant. Okay, so basically you're back on Rainbow Six now. Is that what I'm supposed to understand? And here again, it looks like the stream had a tiny glitch, but nothing too major. Everything is still under control. Let's look at what the offense, what the attack is looking like. So of course, you're going to be having a certain amount of top floor control that is going to be attempted by Hostile Actions, and I don't see any blue silhouettes at the top floor. And Tom has been looking around. You know, he's been flicking back and forth. So it would appear as if Hostile Actions are able to get the top floor unchallenged, basically. This is going to be good news, I guess, for the orange team. But Axios, if they just left top floor unattended, it probably is with good reason. So the attackers can let hell rain down on the OBJ, but is that going to be enough to get a significant amount of kills, or is that going to be enough to enable the defuse to get planted? I couldn't tell you guys just yet. One thing is for sure. Axios, they will be fighting back. G-Money looking at the ceiling. Oh, he wants us in Nitrocell. He wants it so bad. But for the time being, there's no silhouette he could easily detonate it for, right? Those attackers, they're still just too far for it to be actually viable. So he's just going to put it back in his back pocket and shoot at the window. Not connecting anything, but at the very least, he's denying entryway to the attackers. Hostile Actions, they're still, probing the field, if I was to put it this way. They're still looking at this and that, trying to find an interesting way to funnel in, looking at where they could actually push in from. And they don't seem to be finding a good answer to that, to be honest. JD has just dropped down, so he will be attempting a push from the exterior. Devils for the time being. He's also going to be staying here. Ash is getting a kill on Limbo. Where was Ash actually pushing from? Couldn't tell you. Veros also getting a kill real quick. So that is going to be bringing it down to a 3v5 situation. The advantage that Axios has right now is still really good because they have a numerical advantage. They didn't lose, OBJ control whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. Though they're no longer really roaming. I mean, Ash has came back on site. That doesn't mean that the attackers are, roamers free or that they're totally safe. You still do have, I believe it was G-Money on Kitchen, so that can cut off rotations quite easily. And all in all, I mean, a kill or two isn't going to allow the diffuser to get planted. Plus, deathmatch wise, it looks like Axios seem to have an easier time than their opponents to get their kills this round. As far as this round individually is concerned, at the very least, Thomas will be put down. Xag putting him down for good. That is going to be Xag on OBJ, but unfortunately, he'll be falling down. Diffuser has to get on side, and unfortunately, that is just not going to happen. So the timer waits for no one, and your team Hostile Actions, they just found out the hard way. Axios thus officially brought it back to a 4-4 situation. And, the advantage that the orange team had previously, well, it just evaporated into thin air. So, Dash saying, yo, my boy, what's up, Dash? How are you doing, my man? Welcome on the stream. Sky saying, yeah, he's back on Rainbow Six. Okay, so really, you went to Valorant just to try it out, and now you're back on Rainbow Six. So here, I am genuinely curious. I know this isn't the time to actually look up those kind of strats, so I'm not going to do it just now. But I'm genuinely curious which team or which game is the biggest. I mean, Valorant as a free title is likely to have more players. But I mean, as a game that's supposed to have an impact on the industry, is Rainbow Six or is Valorant the biggest or the bigger of the two titles? and gently saying Gosha, best player, Keb probably an abbreviation for Quebec. Change my mind. Well, here I'm gonna say this. Gosha, is he playing right now? Is this like a secondary gamer tag for one of those 10 players? Because I was gonna say if Gosha wins, then he's the best. If he loses, then the winning team is gonna be the best. And it looks like people are rooting for Axios. Tom better though. Tom is bigger gamer man. For the time being, once again, I'm not sure if Gosha is a player on, I want to say, hostile actions here. But if Axios were to win, that would lend a lot of credit to the boasts or to the claims that Tom is supposed to be the better gamer. You have a lot of attempts that are being made at funneling through Sunrise. Doesn't seem to be working out too well. Ash is really aggressive with those pre-fires. Veros coming in to lend a helping hand. Nothing too major is going to connect, but one thing is for sure. I'm not exactly sure, by the way, which whose attacker it is. I mean, this silhouette looked maybe a little something like Limbo, but you did have both Ashes and Veros who were kind of using up their time, who were being paralyzed simply to deny access to. Yeah, it was Ash. So Limbo right here was able to single-handedly basically paralyze two defenders, which, even though nobody died until that firefight occurred, it was still a win for the attackers in my book. Ash's being put down is going to put the attack at an absolute advantage, though a small one. Pickle has lost a bit amount of health, nothing too major. Veras was forced into using one stim pistol shot. Once again, nothing too major. So the erosion, both teams wearing each other down, is happening quite slowly. And at that rate, we're somewhat likely to see another, really close round as far as the timer is concerned. Just remember the last round. Hostile actions were on site. It was Zach was on site. Didn't have diffuser. Had to rush. Could have planted if he had it. So hostile action, even though their pushes seem to be somewhat successful, they were able to get the upper hand. They were able to get on OBJ. They were happening too late, and therefore you will see Axios just playing for time, and that seems to be actually a really viable strategy as far as these two teams are concerned. Tom getting the kill on Devil will bring this back to a 4v4 situation. The Evil Eye camera removing a bit of health of Zag and Montang now. Nothing too major, but it looks like they're going to have a hard time shooting at the camera right here. And it's going to be really good actually at getting intel. Not too likely to deny the plant of the diffuser, but they're still going to attempt. JD right here destroying the pesky Evil Eye. And Zag actually getting the kill on Jiminy. That was your Valkyrie. So as far as, plant deny utility is concerned, Tom is still up. And the Maestro is going to pull out his big gun, but not going to be managing to do too much. There is going to be a plant attempt, but it looks like Big Sexy was able to deny that. Pickles will have to rush in. He's looking for a kill, does not get it, unfortunately. And that's going to be a triple kill combined. Big Sexy getting one with the gun, one with the Evil Eye. And ultimately the other player, Doc, I believe, if my memory serves me right. I am so amnesic from time to time. Yeah, it was Veros. Veros getting another kill. 3 kills in rapid succession. And there you have it. Axios now officially back in the lead. Or actually, let me scratch that. In the lead for the first time in the game. As far as that match is concerned. They were previously only ever able to equilibrate the score to get them back tied. That is going to be interesting. Because Axios, they were able to win a round or two, actually 2 rounds, when they themselves were attacking, but it looks like hostile actions, they're not capable of getting, the same achievement under their belts. They, for the life of them, cannot win one single offense, and their time for doing so is slowly but surely running out, right? They have 2 more rounds, and if they were to lose those 2, well, the game will be over. And the unfortunate thing is, yeah, granted, 1 or 2 rounds were fairly close, but it never actually came down to the wire, right? It was never a proper 1v1. So hostile actions will have to basically reinvent the wheel in a very, very short time. If you were to change things up, you might get better performances on the round one round, and on the other round, you're actually able to win the win the point, and then you can, maybe start to get the momentum going. But to have those incremental improvements upon their performances within a single round, their time frame for doing that is becoming really, really narrow. Nonetheless, kitchen defense it is going to be. So basically, Axios were able to win their primary, secondary, and tertiary bomb site, so we will be off to do the same thing, just a second time around. What do we have here? What do we have? That's an excellent question. I do want to point out the total lack of hard breaching capabilities every single time. Of course, it comes to no surprise, but it takes like one single hatch to be reinforced, for example, in or above blue sunrise bar. In the hookah lounge, actually, you know, the hatch gets reinforced and it's one angle that gets totally shut down, basically. Jiminy getting a first kill on Limbo, that is gonna be really, really unfortunate, right? You know, since the plant of the diffuser doesn't happen too often, it gets attempted fairly frequently, but most of the time it ends up being a deathmatch situation. So losing a really good fragger such as Ash is going to be unfortunate, but Devils is not going to give up just the same. He gets a nice kill on Ashes, and that is now top floor control for Hostile Actions, it looks like. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see any other blue silhouettes at the top floor. And right here, it looks like Zag does not want to have any unwanted visitors at the top floor. The air jab is going to make sure of that. For example, right here, there was also the reinforced hatch in security, which, for example, allows Big Sexy to drone it there unimpeded, basically. So, using top floor control, you're already going to start to, you know, make a number on the floor. Looking for a silhouette. There is one right there, just underneath JD, but he visibly has no intel whatsoever. A drone could have indicated you exactly where you have to send your impact grenade to get a kill. But, unfortunately, they didn't work off intel like that. Zach apparently wanting to insert himself through the main lobby. That can be dangerous. He has diffuser and he's somewhat isolated. There's Devils in the staircase, but Ferros will take care of him right now. And at this point, if Zag wants to rush in, he is quite likely to die and thus lose the diffuser, because there's someone on his left. He doesn't know that, so that can be really dangerous as well. Pickles is coming to the rescue, however, making this whole endeavor so much more valuable. But still, you have Valkyrie right here. The camera, of course, right? Oh, that can be actually huge right now. He is denying Valkyrie a run out. Nonetheless, Valkyrie wasn't alone, as you can see right here. He will be refragged by Pickles. And there is still G1 right here who cannot push in, so I don't know if it's actually a good or a bad thing, to be honest. But JD is already in here, and if they were to attempt to plant, it would be quite dangerous. Pickles getting a nice kill. At this point, I mean, G1 could shoot down the air jab without being hurt, or he could rotate out. And diffuser being actually planted, your Valkyrie has to get back on site pretty quickly. Stepping foot on the barbed wire is going to be hurt. JD thus acting appropriately and winning a round for Hostile Action. That was their first round won on offense. So a fairly important round for them. Since, like I said, if they're not able to bring this into overtime, their chances of winning are exactly 0. The scores are stubbornly going to remain close, or stubbornly going to remain tied. But the real question is going to be, Hostile Actions, can you win another round on offense? If you do, you can bring this into overtime. Well, actually, in the worst case scenario, you're going into overtime. But, you know, to me, it seems like they gave everything just to win the one round. It was quite close, and I don't want to say a few mistakes have been made here and there, but it was not, you know, Hostile Actions, they did not drastically or you know, magically step up their game by a long margin. It was just, you know, a slight victory they won here. They won by a fairly narrow margin, is what I'm trying to say. So, with all that being said, a lot is going to hang in the balance of this round. Axios, of course, they lost on their primary bomb site, so they're going to go here again, which on paper should give them, you know, a good chance at winning. First of all, the map itself is going to be so much easier for them to win it at here than, you know, anywhere else. Number one. Number two, they just lost, so they can think about what just happened. They can think about what kind of mistakes they made and what to not make again if they want to get the favorable outcome for them.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
By the way, Skyzy asking, somebody knows why they took a Thatcher on an IQ and Coastline? That is actually a good question. Now that you mention it, you know, I remember seeing like the blue light in the on the ceiling since the ceiling was kind of destroyed from A to Z. So the blue light being the EMP grenade, right? It detonated. But then it's not as if they were trying to hard breach. It's not as if Bandit was there. Jaeger, maybe, but it was not followed by too many frag grenades. So you are right. It is absolutely a really, really good question. Nonetheless, Natural Cell will be tossing here. That is an absolute lack of intel. There's nobody right here. Of course, there are attackers in the aquarium room, generally speaking, but nowhere near where the Natural Cell detonated. This is where your ears are going to be a really good indicator to know where your opponents, generally speaking, are going to be. But ultimately, it is not going to be, you know, the sound cues are not pinpoint accurate. You cannot, you know, wallbang a player in the head directly just by hearing him, or it's actually really, really unlikely. So that was Big Sexy actually having the opening made with the Natural Cell being turned against him. So Pickles, I believe, used the verticality against him and was able to get a kill by doing so. That is going to be a nice first shot. Pickle actually looking to cut off a rotation for a second. Whose silhouette is that? I believe it. I was going to say I thought it was Jody, simply because he was in the security room before, but that time, or that monk, is not going to play like he did last time. It is going to be Ash's, actually. Still, if the rotation was to be attempted, it would have been cut off. He seems to know that, therefore he roams through office. There's no, you know, enemy silhouette he's likely to kill by executing such a rotation. Ultimately, he is still alive, he's still well, his position is no longer known by hostile actions, and as far as he's concerned, that seems to be good enough. Granted, you do have the attackers that do have a numerical advantage. Health pool wise, okay, so G-Money and Varus just lost a bit of health due to the ceiling being breached, but I would have said a few moments ago that the health pool seemed fairly similar between these two teams. So Devils in particular is going to be a really weak opponent, really easy to take off, or to take out actually. But for the time being, there is a stagnating situation, which once again can make it so that the timer is going to become your biggest enemy. Another kill by JD is going to further increase the numerical advantage that the attackers have. But Ashes seem to know exactly what to expect, and there you have it. JD getting a nice kill on him. That's going to be a double kill for him, triple kill for the team as a whole. 2v5 situation that is going to become somewhat tense. On the hard breath, there's going to be someone. He gets a first kill, but Zag is still planting the diffuser. You can't just push in, and there you have it. The temperature has been turned around. Oh, he's out of ammo, has to pull out the deagle. That doesn't work out, leaving him with Tom, last player alive, abysmally low on health. That was really, really unlikely to succeed. And there you have it, Limbo with a little flank. He just had to get the one shot off, right? It was a free kill at this point, and therefore, hostile actions, they could actually win this now. Axios being backs against the wall, it is not the end of the world. They can still win their round. You know, realistically speaking, they just lost 2 rounds. It's nothing too major in the grand scheme of things, right? A competitive game is played over the course of 12 rounds. Nonetheless, they are backs against the wall. Could you argue hostile actions now have some kind of momentum going? Well, maybe. The 2-round momentum is still a fairly small one, but mentally speaking, it must be exhilarating. You were trailing behind by just 1 point, mind you, but still you were trailing behind. You get the tiniest of comebacks, thus putting yourself in a match point situation. Thatcher of the Nelly Magnat Dawamai. I see. So what I was saying is, yeah, putting your opponents into match point situation, and even though none of these factors individually is huge, you know, the accumulation of these things can still have some impact on your opponent's psyche. So Axios maybe have the morale a bit strained right now. I'm not saying they do. I mean, they're still a really, really well-trained team, so they're not gonna fall under such a tiny amount of pressure. But it's still going to be there, even if just subconsciously, you know. Okay, so Axios, however, they're not going off. They're not starting too well here. They may very well win the round, but what I mean by that is simply they start with an admission to defeat. They admit it. They are not capable of winning their rounds on Kitchen, and that is why they will absolutely refuse to go there again, for better or for worse. They'll be going on, in theory, a weaker bomb site. And that, you know, starting the round with an admission of defeat, like I said, doesn't bode too well. Nonetheless, they had to cut their losses, and if they lose the round, it is over. So you totally do understand why they would decide to do that. So just like last time, is it going to be Limbo or Devils this time that tries to get in through the side entrance right here? No matter who it was, that silhouette is no longer there. looks like it was Zag maybe even. I mean, when is a nomad the first in the front lines? That doesn't make too much sense to me. But then again, who am I? I'm just a dumb caster. The top floor control, once again, just like last time we saw, the blue bar defense is going to be totally abandoned by Axios. They're not even attempting to hold it. Granted, it worked pretty well for them last time around. But still, on paper, you don't have a sledge, granted, but you, for example, have Limbo and JD, who both have a kit that can help them create the openings through the ceiling, and they can just let hell rain down on the defenders. Is it going to be enough to get the kills? Well, maybe, but likely not. Ultimately, you are going to be putting a lot of stress on the defense. If they can't hide behind the one or the other piece of cover, they're going to have to move. You can thus cut off rotations if you have a good, positioning at the right time. Or, failing that, you can deny them, the capabilities of hiding behind the one piece of cover, which would also, remove them to hold a certain angle, which in turn could help you to get the diffuser planted. You do have Veras in the staircase right here droning when he's so close. Could be dangerous, but there was still an air jab right there, so the risk was somewhat mitigated. The Toxic Babe will be tossed in, but nothing too major, I want to say. Zag and JD are preparing a push from this angle. Devil's looking at the top floor. There is somebody right, yeah, of course, right, there's gonna be someone right next to the door, and there you have it. Asha's getting her first pick on Pickle. Tom will be receiving pressure, but of course there are the magnets. Oh, the second one didn't deploy in time, and there you have it, the deployable shield being destroyed. That's gonna lead to a kill. Zag is gonna take Tom out. The Toxic Babes will be tossed. That's a perfect throw as far as the doorway is concerned, but it's the wrong doorway. So, getting back right here. Oh, they could actually try to plant. And Devils from the top floor can cut off a rotation. The Toxic Babe will be dangerous. Zag losing a lot of health, not getting the diffuser down. Ferras now has control of diffuser, though JD was able to recover it. What can you do from then on? They will have to plant because the timer is running critically low, but of course the angles are still being held quite aggressively. He is still going to be prone stubbornly in the same angle. Ash, as this time, is likely to get to fall victim to that. And the diffuser has officially been planted. Ash is Big Sexy, both getting a kill in rapid succession. Devil is now the last player alive at the top floor. Has to get the double kill if he wants to keep the team alive. And they know exactly what to do. Devils is going to run right into Big Sexy's bullets. Not falling down, playing for time, but Ashes gets the kill. And there you officially have it. Hostile actions will be going into overtime.
Disabled by defenders. Bomb defusing attempt failed. Defenders win.
So yeah, that is looking like a really tight game. It is going to be absolutely magnificent. Okay, let's go for the replays. Let's go for these replays ASAP. And why is the replay blank? Tell me this. Why? Oh gosh, did I not hit like the save button before showing them? Yeah, that might not help. There you have them. Sorry about that. Let me just jump into Discord because we had another game that was supposed to start. Yeah. 15 minutes ago.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Because their hostile actions, they had another game scheduled. We had a bit of a few delays, the rehearsals and all that good stuff. It looks like they... I'm just gonna tell them nonetheless. Oh, gosh. I was in caps lock. That is not too... That's not nice being shouted at. So, the blue bar defense still ended up being a victory for Axios. So, when I said, oh, Axios, they're starting the round with the diminishing of defeat, sometimes it is not the worst thing to do, right? The admission of defeat was actually the right call to make, because if you are too stubborn to admit that you cannot win, then you're just going to stick with a losing recipe. With a recipe for disaster, to put it this way. And right here, Axios actually got the defensive side on overtime. And that can be quite interesting, because as we saw, the defenders are usually able to win the majority of their rounds. So would the coin toss here have basically given the victory to Axios? I couldn't tell you. I mean, it remains to be seen. But if I was to go off of historical data, that would seem somewhat likely. I'm just going to take like half a moment to say it would be really nice if Mapban also covered overtime. You know, the spawning sides on overtime, if Mapbank could cover those, I would love it. Because that's actually a factor, right? The team that doesn't pick sides is, on paper, supposed to pick overtime sides. But some community orgs don't go into that much detail. And I feel it is an important detail, even though it is a detail nonetheless. Okay, so first kill here has been on Jiminy, and he was facing against very well coordinated anti-roamers. So his chances of survival were abysmal. Big Sexy with a nice tiny angle. He's looking at the main entrance. He could cut off a rotation on a careless attacker, but I don't see this happening right now. And it looks like our Maestro is going to be at the top floor, looking at the floor, trying to get a kill or two, because he just fired a few bullets. Of course, right? Just by dumb luck or by lack thereof, he's not going to hit anything, but the attempts have still been made. Now the hostile actions have been roaming at the first floor, basically left and right. They looked, or they took every single angle you can take of, and they didn't get any kills. Now would be time to take a look at the second floor itself. So Pickle will be rappelling up as soon as he breaches the one, or as he hits the thing once. Of course, he receives bullets, so it might not be too interesting for him. Cutting off the run out there, and Zag's going to make sure that, for example, Big Sexy doesn't attempt a run out. My boy Wamai with Beats Pro. Wait, did the Wamai player have a custom skin on? So many details to which I don't pay attention to. Sorry about that. Tom is going to be the, as far as I can tell, the only one directly on the Billiards bomb site. So, of course, he's not going to be peeking directly. You know how Smoke plays. But on paper, should he be taken out, it could lead to a fairly easy way of planting the diffuser directly behind the bomb. I do not know, to be honest. I do not know. And one thing is for sure, he is at a really predictable positioning. So, for example, Zofia or Ash could use their utility to just breach the ceiling and maybe shoot at him from below, from the feet. Oh, right there's gonna be Ashes taking a nasty bullet to the head. He was holding the angle, watching it like a hawk, and yet he got pested. That is gonna be unfortunate, but hostile actions are looking really good, though. Ultimately, your plan denial operators are still up. I'm referring to Smoke and Maestro. So these two players being still alive can absolutely change the outcome of the round. Devils will not be planting in the cloud of smoke. He's no longer planting, actually. He's going to have to attempt it the second time around. Pickle's getting a nice kill on Veras, and that is going to be a double kill for them. Actually, Pickle got one, Limbo got one, JD got one. So it's going to be 3 individual kills just happening in rapid succession, which, when put together, are going to cause a rapid end to the round, and thus putting hostile actions yet again at odds of winning the match. Let's go with the replays. That was amazing, to say the least. Hey, replays, I said. Dash 1776 has subscribed. Thank you, Dash. Super appreciated. As you may have noticed, we don't show the notifications when somebody follows or subscribes mid-game because we want to keep the UI as clean as possible. But worry not, we will show that notification as soon as the game ends and as soon as we're back into the other UI elements, or the other scenes, I want to say. All in all, that was a really strong opening for hostile actions, right? They were able to isolate 1 or 2 attackers, 1 or 2 defenders rather, get the kills on them. For example, who was playing Legion? It was G-Money. So G-Money being stuck in kitchen in a 1v3 situation with no help in sight, he got dispatched and bested basically easily. You know, another kill here and there later. Axios, they just find themselves staring at an unwinnable situation. And now, things are looking really good for hostile actions. I maybe am putting too much faith simply in the fact that it is a defense-sided map and simply that, you know, the defense is therefore more likely to win. But right now, hostile actions, they are at odds of winning, and they have the easier side to you know, get the winning round. Once again, it is ever so slightly defense-sided. It is one of the most balanced maps in the competitive map pool there is, actually. But it's still not perfectly balanced. Tom will be bringing a new operator to the table, and it will be Lion. Oh, the natural cell pre-placed. Don't blow it up immediately, of course, right? But pre-placed like that, I don't see this too often. Nonetheless, Limbo here will be attempting to deny entrance through the blue bar. Could he even attempt to run out, or just to peek through the other window here? Maybe not, maybe not. But my big question is going to be regarding Axios. Where do they want to push from? What's their insertion point into the building itself? And where is the pressure going to mount? Because ultimately, they lead the action, and Hostile Action's job is to react to a push that they're seeing, right? So right here, Zag is going to get a refrag on Veros, who was able to get the frag on Pickles, I believe. Once again, I'm totally drunk here. But one thing is for sure, a 4v5 situation, neither teams has the upper hand, but right here, apparently JD knows, or Ashley, sorry, knows there's somebody right there. Doesn't quite get the angle. JD actually gets bested by Tom. And that flash, oh no, he's flashing himself. How unfortunate. And that will allow Limbo to get out of there alive, luckily for him. Nonetheless, in the meantime, Axios have been able to get the upper hand. You do have Zag, who's holding security room. He has a really tight angle, not really contributing to the defense of the OBJ itself. He's locking down main entrance or main lobby, which is important. But if you look at the positioning, there's only one blue silhouette right here outside, whereas all three of the remaining attackers will be pushing from Sunrise Bar. So Zag's positioning is not the most pertinent ever, considering what the attackers are up to. Jumping right on a Claymore. That is going to be putting Hostile Action at a huge disadvantage, actually. Now, a 1v4 situation. Zag, can you pull off the clutch? It is looking unlikely. Tom, of course, planting, and since he was spotted at the top floor, the rotation will be somewhat predictable, and therefore Big Sexy will get a predictable kill. Officially, it could not go any longer. You have a 7-7 scoreline. Which team is going to win it out? At this point, I could not, for the life of me, tell you. So, let's take a look at those replays. Because that round was something. It was unfortunate the way Limbo jumped on the Claymore, oblivious. And by the way, you don't see too many runouts, too many crazy aggressive plays like this, you know, spawn kills or that kind of stuff, simply because at some point the attackers expect them, or they know how to counteract them. Like, I know I'm going off a tangent here, but for example, in ranked or even in, you know, casual game modes, the runouts are absolutely annoying. People hate them. People say, oh, they shouldn't be part of the game, and you know, that kind of stuff is heard from time to time. But that's really just the lower levels of play that are talking this way. Because if you look at actual competitive matches, spawn kills, crazy aggressive, or crazy, I want to say stupid runouts don't happen because they're just not a sound strategical choice to make. So ultimately, to those that like to spawn kills, yeah, not that you bad, but you're losing to a arguably inferior tactic to what we're seeing right here, for example. So in chat, we saw a lot of people say spam this pasta to help Zag, to help Hostile Action, to help Zag. In chat, a lot of support was pouring towards the orange team side. But then you have Smokey Blunt, who's actually willing to put down channel points to proclaim his support to Axios. So who are the better fans? The ones that shout the loudest, or the ones that actually, you know, put down internet money to proclaim their fandom? And Vez is doing just the same. So that is going to be invalidating anything I just said. So round number 14. We couldn't go any further than that. It is going to be a blue bar defense, actually. Blue bar defense, which so far Axios, they tried twice, right? They won once. No, they won twice, actually. Okay, so historically speaking, if I was to go off of historical data, things would be looking really, really well for Axios. There's one tiny caveat, though. The last round that we went here, actually 2 rounds ago, basically, Hostile Actions got the diffuser planted, and on paper, if you were to look like at statistics, once the diffuser does get planted, the attacking team has from that point on, 80% chances of winning the round. Even though Hostile Actions, they were able to defeat or to circum the odds and to win it out. JD will be the first one to die here, leaving us with a 4v5 situation. Yet again, Axios not attempting to hold top floor control whatsoever. And as you can see, basically, both teams are doing, at this point, the same thing over and over and over again. On paper, I'd say it leaves both teams open to be surprised by the enemy team's, say, innovations, right? But it looks like, for example, Axios will not be sending a sneaky roamer at the top floor to surprise Hostile Actions, so at this point, I'll expect to see one right here. One example among many others, right? Or it looks like kitchen control is like really important for Axios. They always do have the one roamer there, and of course he is important. He cuts off any rotations that you can make through Cool Vibe stairs. So all that good stuff. is something that, of course, we know because we see through walls, and you know we're all knowing as the caster and spectators. But at this point, the players should also know that their opponents are going to be having this kind of playstyle, because it is becoming repetitive. Not exactly stale, because the match is still really interesting and really nice to watch, but repetitive nonetheless. This time, however, the magnet will have deployed just in time to protect the deployable shield. So that was Zofia. No, that was Nomad. Nonetheless, it was utility used in attempts to flush Tom out from behind the shield. At this point, your best shot would be to simply rush him while he's reloading, and that is going to work just fine. Pickles now could try to apply the diffuser if he had it, which he doesn't, but the Toxic Babes will be an absolute death sentence. Feroz with the double kill, Jiminy getting another one. Devils, at this point, in a 1v4 situation, it looks desperate. He gets one. They still say GG in the chat, but he gets another one. He is going to attempt to rush in. Jimony's right there. He knows it. He does not get the kill. Oh, I froze there. Unfortunately for him, even if Jiminy was to die, well, Devils couldn't have won it, right? Because the timer was out and he didn't have diffuser to plant. So hard-fought victory for Axios. One which they absolutely do deserve. We did have a rehost, so as far as you know, the scoreboard which we're going to be seeing right here is concerned, it is just painting a partial picture. But it still gives a good idea of the performances of the team, you know, compared to one player compared to another. So you have, for example, Big Sexy, top fragger, Ash's second top fragger that just drops down, and they had more kills than Hostile Actions, simply because Hostile Actions had the upper hand by the time the roll swap or the rehost occurred. So therefore, more of the orange team's kills are lacking compared to Axios' teams. So EM Ancient One with 100. With 100 bits, absolutely appreciate it. Supporting Axios, that is the right thing to do, since, as you can see now, they win it out. So officially, Axios will be undefeated for the entirety of the main season. They will be making it into the playoffs with the first seed. Hostile Actions, they are going to be an extremely close second, granted, right? Hostile Actions, had they won this match, would have gotten the first place. But ultimately, I don't want to say that this match was pointless, but both teams were making it into the playoffs, no matter the outcome. The only difference it could have made was the first seed. So, there you have it. Dash saying, Tom, for interview. The unfortunate thing is I don't know if there's going to be an interview, because I'm going to have to cut it short. Because Hostile Actions, they had another match lined up at 9. And as you can see, we're like 30 minutes late at this point. So, I'm sorry, but I think... Oh, wrong button. I want to get into the... Come on, this overlay. So yeah, I'm really, really sorry, guys, but I think we're going to have to jump the interview and get on with the next match, which is going to be between Hostile Actions and Mishash Gaming. So once again, I see the chat. You guys really do want one? You know what? Okay. The compromise I can make is I could get the interview while we do the map ban for the other game. So we won't be commenting on the map ban, but we'll still see like, oh, this map has been banned, this map has been banned. And we're going to watch them, but not talk about them since we're going to be doing the interview. I have two things to do real quick before we jump into that. So, Dash, who had subscribed. Oh, yeah, and the notifications are in French. Nonetheless, Dash1776 had subscribed. Super, super appreciated. And then we also had AM Ancient One with the cheers of 100 bits. Also, absolutely appreciated. Never asked for, always appreciated. A lot of people, a lot of like streamers will say, oh, it helps like keep the channel growing, going and that kind of stuff. But as you can see, I mean, with 40 viewers, we're not doing this like full time, or we're not doing this for the money. We really do this because we enjoy it. But seeing as this community supports us, it is an absolute boost on the morale, even if not on the wallet, since once again, the community is just too small to have this stream make sense purely in a monetarily sense. Okay. So, yeah, I will be preparing the interview. I'll be preparing the map bans while we do the interview. Zug, you want to like move Tom in, or actually, yeah, Zug, do you want to move Tom in this channel?
Yeah, you can.
Like, can you do this? Because I'll be preparing the map ban for the next game.
I'm already doing the map ban for the map ban for the other game.
Oh, okay, great. I didn't know that.
So
Awesome.
you want me to move Tom?
Well,
right?
if you're doing map bans, I'll move him.
All right, good.
So, hey, Tom. I hope I didn't, like, remove you from a conversation too abruptly? Because I would do the interview with you if you don't mind, because the chat was absolutely asking for that.
Oh no, 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 no. No, no, no. How about you guys come into the general voice chat and then we can do it that way.
All right, we'll do this.
Oh my god.
Hey guys,
Hello.
Hello.
how are you doing?
Chilling. I'm
Pretty
vibing.
good.
Chilling. I
Yeah.
mean, you guys won. You guys won your 16th game, I believe. You have a perfect track record as far as the main season is concerned. You're going into the playoffs with the first rank, with the first seat rather, and a victory just among many others is what some could say. But it was actually a hard fought victory. You went into overtime and you went 7-7 before you actually were able to win it out. So that must have been one of your closest or hardest matches so far.
Well, it was a good game, fun game. Those are way more fun than like 7-3, 7-0s, and
Oh yeah.
it's more enjoyable to watch
You know,
against as well.
they were honestly pretty good, and like, I don't know if it falls perfectly with their play style, but every time you would misdrone something or something bad, like every misstep, they would capitalize on it, which
Yeah.
is pretty rare.
Well,
for, like most
another thing
teams.
is, like
So
the
we got,
first
like,
half was like kind of yikes, as they were like spawn picking a lot, and it was basically like 45 for us, and like